Very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome back to our class, that is for the paper Project Management with coded MMPO 002. We were into block 2, the project planning part, and this is the last unit of the block 2 that we shall be learning about something called as earned value analysis. So before starting anything, let me wish all a happy Makar Sankranti and happy Pongal, and we shall begin our session today. Now, up till now, we have seen a project is a unique endeavor which starts from a definite date and the project manager tries to complete it within the scheduled time period. Now, the project has some boundaries that is fixed in the planning horizon, that is the cost, and basically the schedule, the time schedule. And apart from that, scope and quality also form a part of that. We cannot ignore the scope and quality, but for the project manager, the most important thing is how we can know when we are into the implementation stage of a project that at any given point of time, whether I am performing according to the scheduled cost or the budgeted cost, and whether my work that has been performed is according to the schedule of the work that is envisaged at the beginning of the project. So what it does, it allows the manager, the project manager, to see at any given point of the project whether he is going over budget or is he going at a slower rate. That means he is not adhering to the time schedule. That means working at a lower pace. That is not required in today's competitive world. So if anything is detected here, then we say that the project manager should take necessary actions so that a new plan can be developed or corrective plan can be developed immediately so that we can complete our project within the planned horizon of cost as well as time. So for that we use certain kind of the measurement technique that we call as earned value analysis. Now we shall see regarding earned value analysis today. Let us go into our subject. Now, when we introduce on value analysis, we say this EVA on value analysis is an approach to monitor how the project is performing with respect to baselines. When I say baselines, we are talking of the cost as well as the time schedules. But here we have to keep in our mind that yes, we cannot reduce the scope of the project or we cannot reduce the quality of the deliverables in the project. So basically the focus is on time and cost. In the hindsight, yes, without compromising on the quality and scope. Generally, a project's process is assessed as whether it is ahead of schedule. Ahead of schedule means whether the work going on in the project, that means the various activities going on, are they being done before the planned horizon or the planned time period? If it is done before the time period that is planned, then we say ahead of the schedule. The reverse is behind schedule. Suppose I have fixed a particular date to complete an activity, but I say that I am lagging behind in completion of that particular activity. So there we say that we are running behind the schedule. And another important aspect that we try to look into is the over budget part. Yes, when we look at how much is the planned budget and how much is our actual expenditures or the cost at any given point of time in the project, we can know whether we are performing according to the budget. If we are spending more than that, we say that we are going over budget. If you are spending less than that, yes, you are under budget. So the project manager always looks to a type of situation where he can be ahead of schedule and also it is within the budgetary plans. Otherwise, he has to or she has to take various kind of corrective necessary steps so that the plans can be we can say plans can be rechecked and we can put in new plans corrective measures so that we try to make good of the deviations. Now, the current global era of highly competitive conditions ask the businesses to operate faster than ever before. Yes, we can say that now the world is working at a rapid pace. Similarly, the projects that are coming up by various organizations are also undertaken at a very rapid pace. Now, organizations are working on multiple projects at the same time. Yes, instead of focusing on a single project, organizations are trying to work in various types of projects at the same time so that they can keep pace with the global competitiveness that is going on at this present moment of time. Here, the project control becomes a vital aspect for the project managers within the horizon of monitoring and updating the projects. Now, when we talk of control, that means it is the corrective actions. Now, when do the need for corrective actions arise? Now, we constantly, as a project manager, try to monitor how the project work is going on. What is the expenditure in the various activities of the project? When we get scheduled reports or the monitored reports, we can check that by comparing with the planned aspects of the project. Thereby, we can know what are the various kind of deviations that are creeping up. Whether we are lagging behind in time schedule, whether we are overexpending, which are not required for a good project manager. And if such situation arises, we need to update our plans so that the project in the future course of action can attain the given time period completion. As well, we can say that yes, the project is completed according to the budget we have envisaged at the beginning of the planning horizon. This project control compares the current situation with the initial project plan. Just as I said, the project control compares the current situation, yes, the situation in terms of time and cost, with the initial project plan. That means up till this point of time, what was our plan and what is the actual situation. That will give us the deviations. The deviations lead to develop a current plan suiting the actual situation. What it means? Now suppose as a project manager we find we are lagging behind in terms of the time schedule. That means whatever we have planned for the activities in terms of time, we are not able to complete those activities in the scheduled time. So what can we do here? Now we can move over to something called as thrashing of projects. That means we can work on the projects at a faster rate. But here the question comes, will it not bring into the fold the higher cost part? The answer is yes. So we have to balance between these two things as a project manager, and we have to develop a particular current plan. In case of delays, just as we discussed just now, the manager of the project should take appropriate steps to prevent it. That means the corrective actions so that the delays can be negated with, or we can recover from the time delays. Yes. For an example, we can say about the Bengaluru airport, Kempegowda airport, terminal 2, T2, which was going on according to the plans that was developed initially. However, what happened? One day, the project manager received a letter from the government that due to the forthcoming or the developing situation of the pandemic, that is Corona-19, the work has to be stopped for at least 3 months. So what happened? Now, due to an unforeseen scenario of the future, the project is delayed here. So what can we do here? The answer that the project team came up, they took up simultaneous activities at the same time. Instead of waiting to go one by one. However, by maintaining the precedence relationship, and they worked in and out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that they could complete the airport terminal in time. Now, here the team was very good. The project manager was open to suggestions that were given by the team members, and everything led to a very good corrective plan. That means how we can reduce the delay of completing the project and finish it in time. And yes, the airport was ready in time. For that, one of the important activities that they did was, before the monsoons, they tried to complete the exterior structure of the airport terminal 2 at Bengaluru. Now, when the monsoons came, if the external structure would not have been completed, then what would have happened? Now, the internal works could not have gone. That means we can do the internal works. So, since the external work was completed, the interiors was worked upon during the monsoons, 24 hours a day and again 7 days a week, and multiple interior activities were done at the same time, so that the airport was completed in time. Here, the healthy decisions are taken by the project managers with the help of proper tools. Now the question is, how do a project manager knows that he is going or overshooting the budget, or in other words, is he lagging behind the schedule, the time schedule? If such situation is arriving, how can we decide upon that? What kind of decisions we shall be taking? What tools will be helping us? Now, sustainable measures related to cost and quality should also be monitored. Yes, apart from the time schedule, the cost, the budgets, quality should also be monitored. We cannot say that in order to complete quickly or under budget, we can compromise on quality. Now, what is the tool that is in front of us, which is widely used by project managers? Yes, one such tool we have, which is very widely used as well as very useful for the project managers, is called as EVA, Earned Value Analysis. Now, as we move on in this unit, we shall see what is that earned value analysis, how it will tell us whether we are over budget or delayed in schedule while working on a project, and this will help, yes, the project managers to take various kind of steps so that they can complete the project effectively and efficiently. By using the tool EVA, the earned value analysis, we can measure the performance of cost as well as time of a project at any point of time. At any given point of time, you can measure the performance of your project as a project manager, so that it will tell you that whether you are in an unfavorable situation or you are in a favorable situation. If the situation is unfavorable, then we have to go for corrective actions, or we have to develop new plans so that we can complete the project in time. Now, what is the history behind earned value analysis? When we are looking at the history behind earned value analysis, this tool was basically popularized or used widely or mandated by US Air Force, United States Air Force in 1966. US Air Force, it mandated the use of the earned value analysis in addition to other planning and controlling requirements for Air Force projects. So here we see in military projects a development of new we can say aircrafts, etc. This has been used by USAF 1966, and this is based on Earned Value Management System, EVMS. It was named as the cost or the schedule planning control specification. The particular tool, when it was used, it was called as we said, the focus should be on cost as well as schedule. Whatever we have planned, we tried at any point of time to measure whether the project is performing according to the plans. If it is not and an unfavorable situation is arising, then we have to go for control measures. Now, it is recognized as Earned Value Management Systems, or the method is popularly called as Earned Value Analysis by the project managers. So in this way, the Earned Value Analysis was developed and widely used, popularized among the project managers. Now, what is that earned value analysis? How can we define that? This is a method that allows the measuring of the amount of work actually carried out. Now, let us take an example of we are going for a project of construction of a house. At initial stage, we try to determine what should be the cost of the house, that means budgeted cost, and what should be the deadline to complete the house. That means by this time I should complete my work on the house. If we look at the construction process at any point of time during implementation, you will find that activities either will be going on at a faster pace or going on at a slower pace, some activities, as well as whatever cost you have envisaged for a given point of time or for given activities, it may also get altered during the future times. So when we reach a particular point of time, we try to measure whether our budget is under control and the time is on schedule. So EVA is a method that helps us to measure the amount of work actually carried out in terms of cost as well as the time. It helps to monitor and forecast the project's performance. Yes, the project manager constantly looks at the cost aspect and the time aspect of the project. So we can say at this point of time whether the project is performing according to the planned budget or the planned time. This allows the project manager to forecast the project's total cost and date of completion based on certain trend analysis or project's burn rate. Now what is this? Now, project manager at a certain point of time during implementation, suppose finds that he is going over budget. So he will try to see that why this over budget has occurred. Can it be checked by having a new plan from this point of time so that we can implement it and complete the project in the given budget as well as given time. This relies on project's earned value, in other words, budgeted cost of work performed. Now, we shall be using the tool which is in description we say budgeted cost of work performed. Now, this will enable the project manager to calculate the performance indices. As we move on, we shall see the indices today, or the burn rates for cost as well as the schedule or the time performance. That means looking at the indices or the index that we shall be calculating for cost and schedule, we can predict, yes, this is the project's performance in terms of cost and schedule. This provides information on project's performance related to its original plans. Now, when we calculate the earned values, that means the performance indices under earned value analysis, it will tell us whether the project is performing according to the plans. That means whether it is over budget or is it lagging behind in time. All these things will be provided by earned value analysis. Now, for calculation of earned value analysis, we require various kind of data. Basically, three type of data is used. One is planned value, another one is actual cost, another is earned value. Then we shall see the performance metrics or the performance indices that is given by the earned value management system, and we try to interpret that as a project manager. That means at a given point of time during the implementation of the project, what is happening to our project in terms of cost as well as time. So the first thing we shall see is planned value, or we represent it as PV. Now, when we say planned value, it is the amount of work which is supposed to be done at any given point of time in the project schedule and the cost estimated. Now, when we start the project, we can see the time periods, or from the starting till the time period, what was the budgeted cost, how much was the project schedule to be completed at that point of time. That will give us the planned value of a project. It is budgeted cost of work scheduled. BCWS, we try to represent it. That means, suppose in our example of our project, that is the house, our house has a plan of a total cost budgeted is rupees, suppose 5 lakhs, and the time to complete it was 1 year. So after 4 months, I know that according to my plan, I would have spent 30% of the budget, that is 3 lakh rupees. Out of 5, 30% is 1,50,000. And in that point of time, whatever are the total activities scheduled for completion of house, that should be, suppose, 40% complete. So we take whatever was the work schedule, 40% of the work, how much was the budgeted cost for that. Now we can calculate the planned value in two ways. One is cumulative planned value, another is current planned value. So when we are talking of cumulative plan value, it is the total of the approved budget for activities scheduled, or the total of budgeted cost of work scheduled till date from the very beginning of the project. That means here we don't divide the project into various time periods. That means in terms of days, weeks, months, etc. Here we try to look at the project as a whole as it is going on. So from the starting point till the ending point, from the starting point till the point as of today, how much is the budgeted cost for the work that was scheduled to be completed, or work that is scheduled for this particular current time. Then we can also calculate current present value. Sometimes what happens, we as project managers, we divide our projects, the time period or the time horizon, in terms of various equal time periods. That means in terms of days, in terms of weeks, it may be in months, years, etc. So we can look here at any given time period. When I say at any given period of time period, we are talking of not from the very beginning till today's date. It is for, suppose we are going by a monthly time period data, then we shall calculate each month's the planned value. Now that is approved budget for activities or budgeted cost of work schedule to be performed during any given period of time. So planned value is budgeted cost of work schedule, or in other words we call it as BCWS. Second one, the second important data source for our earned value analysis is actual cost. Now, when we are into the implementation stage of the project, at any given point of time, we can know how much work has been completed out of the total work. Suppose the total work is 100%, I have completed only suppose 30%, then work completed. That means actually the activities that is finished is 30% of the total work, that is 100%. For that, how much actually I have paid? So it is defined as the actual cost of work performed, ACWP. Now here also we can have similar to our planned value. The calculation can be in two ways. One is cumulative, another one is current. When we calculate the actual cost for work performed till date from the beginning of the project, then we call it as cumulative actual cost. That means here we don't divide the project into various time periods. Now the second measure that we can have is current actual cost. Now suppose if I divide my project into small segments of time period, be it days, weeks, months, just like the previous data that was planned value, and we calculate the actual cost of the activities actually performed during that particular or any given particular time period, that will be called as current actual cost. Now we are going to the third and the final thing for our calculation, that is of the data for our calculation, that is called as earned value, EV. Now what is that earned value? Now when the actually is going on there, for the actual work that has been done at any point of time, how much cost has been budgeted, that will tell us how much is the earned value. So it is the budgeted cost actually incurred in completing a work or activity. So whatever activities you have actually completed, for that, how much is the budgeted amount or the cost. So it is represented as BCWP, budgeted cost of work performed. Now here also we can have two different measures. One is the cumulative earned value, another one is current earned value. Now when we look at a project from its beginning till the point of time when we are using our earned value measure or analyzing the earned value, then we take into account the budgeted cost of all activities actually performed till date. So that is cumulative, that means overall. Now when we are talking of current earned value, that is budgeted cost of all activities performed during a given period. Just as in the previous cases of planned value and actual cost, when we are talking about current scenarios, there what has happened, now the project has been divided into time periods. It may be days, months or years also. So when you calculate for each time period separately, then we call it as the current measures. So when you calculate the earned value for a given period of time, that is budgeted cost for all activities performed during that given period of time, we call it as current earned value. Now we come to the performance metrics. That means how from the data set that we have developed, that is the planned value, the actual cost and earned value, how can I know regarding the performance of my project in terms of the cost, that is whether it is over budget or it is under budget. And secondly, we can see how much is the delay in time or we are ahead of time. That means the schedules. Now first we look at the cost variance. The first performance metrics under EVA that we shall be looking is the cost variance. It is the difference between earned value and actual cost. All of us know that earned value, just we had seen in the previous slides, it is the budgeted cost of actual work performed. And when we talked about actual cost, it was actual cost of actual work performed. So we can write it as budgeted cost of actual work performed and the actual cost of actual work performed. BCWP, SCWP. So here we measure what is the thing here. That means the difference between the BCWP and SCWP. Now here two things can occur. First, let us see a scenario. BCWP, that means budgeted cost of actual work, is equal to actual cost of actual work. That means whatever work we have actually completed, whatever was the budget planned, actually we have spent that much. So immediately we can say, yes, we are on budget. So when BCWP is equal to SCWP, then the cost variance, that is BCWP minus SCWP, becomes 0. That means we are on budget. Now let us look at a second scenario. The budgeted cost of work performed is less than the actual cost of work performed. In that case, the cost variance will be negative or less than 0. What it means? Now suppose I have completed 30% of the work till date, and for that my budget was suppose rupees 1 lakh, but actually I see that the actual cost of that 30% work that has been performed is more than the budgeted cost. That means we are spending more than what we have budgeted. In other words, the project is over budget. Now, we as a project manager would never run into a situation or try to avoid situation or take corrective steps if the project is going over budget. Now, if cost variance is greater than 0 or positive, the project is under budget. That means the budgeted cost for whatever we have done is greater than the actual cost for that same amount of work that has been performed. That means we are spending less than the budgeted amount. But here the project manager, if such a situation arises, we have to keep in mind that are we not compromising on the scope and quality? Yes. So these things have to be kept in our mind. We also calculate, apart from cost variance, cost performance index, CPI. It is a ratio which again compares the earned value and the actual cost. Cost variance was the difference between the two. Here it is the ratio of earned value to actual cost. So if performance index is less than 1, we are going over budget. If it is greater than 1, we are under budget. Immediately you can take necessary corrective actions. Now let us look at an example. A project has rupees 5 lakh for development of a new product. According to project schedule, the work is scheduled to be 50% complete. As of today, the project is 60% complete, while 45% of the budget has been used. Now here we are asked to comment on the project's budget performance. That means whether we are over budget or on budget or it is under budget. So we shall calculate the cost variance here as well as the index, that is the cost performance index. Both the things we shall calculate and we shall see what is the impact. So for that, what I do, first I calculate actual cost. We know that actual cost was actual cost for actual work performed. In our formulas we had seen this is actual cost. Now, how much is the total project's value? Now, it is 5 lakh. Now, how much is the actual work performed? Now, you can see as of today, the project is 60% complete, while 45% of the budget has been used. So out of the 5 lakh rupees, how much you have spent actually? Now 45% you have used. That gives me an amount of 2,25,000. Similarly, I can calculate the planned value. Planned value was budgeted cost of work schedule. So that is 5 lakh was the total cost, and as of date you have scheduled how much? Is scheduled to be 50% complete. That gives me 2,50,000. Similarly, I can calculate the earned value. and value is budgeted cost for work performed. So how much is the total cost budget? That was 5 lakh into how much work I have performed. It is 60% complete. So that gives me a value of 3 lakh rupees. Now, how do I calculate cost variance? Now immediately it is earned value. That means budgeted cost of work performed minus the actual cost. Minus the actual cost. So as from our calculation, we can see it is 3 lakh minus actual cost was 2 lakh 25. So giving me a value of 75,000 positive. So we can say we are under budget. Just 1 second. Yes, sorry. If it is positive, then it is over budget. Now, similarly, I can calculate the cost performance index. That was earned value divided by actual cost. That is 3 lakh divided by 2 lakh 25,000. That gives me a value of 1.33, which is greater than 1. That means we are why I am saying under budget. Now if you look at CPI greater than 1 is under budget, or if it is positive, the project is under budget. Why under budget? Now for the actual work performed, my budget was 3 lakh rupees. How much I have spent for that much work actually performed? Now it is 2 lakh 25,000. So we are saying under budget. Similarly, I can go for calculation of schedule variance. Now, what is it? Now it is the difference between earned value and planned value. Earned value, we know that it is equal to budgeted cost of work performed and the difference of that with budgeted cost of work schedule. That means planned value. If it is equal to 0, the project is on time schedule. If it is negative, the project is lagging or behind schedule. If it is greater than 0, the project is ahead of schedule. So these decisions we have to keep in our mind. Now the same example I have taken here, I think we had calculated actual cost in the previous case was 2 lakh 25 the planned value was 2,50,000, and the earned value was 3 lakh rupees. Now here this should be schedule variance. Yes. So scheduled variance is equal to earned value minus the planned value, that is 3 lakh minus 2,50,000, that is equal to plus 50,000 positive. Similarly, the scheduled variance index is equal to earned value by planned value. That if we put the things into perspective, that gives us a figure of 1.2, which is greater than 1. So we can say the project is ahead of schedule. Now, here we have taken another example. You can calculate this and put the values of the various things. If I go on calculating, so for period 1, time period 1, the cost variance is minus 25,000. The cost performance index is 0.95. The schedule variance is plus 50,000, and the schedule performance index is 1.11. This is for particularly period 1. So here, since it is negative cost variance, we are over budget in the first period. In the second period, we are ahead of schedule. In the first period, we are ahead of schedule. Similarly, I can calculate all the things here, as well as I can calculate by taking the total. Suppose the planned value, it will be 5,10,000. This will be 8,05,000. This will be 8 lakh. So total is, instead of taking period wise, we are taking both all the things. So this is cumulative and these are current measures. And you can predict, you can check the overall. For both periods, we are under budget, and unfortunately, we are behind the schedule. So you can calculate current as well as cumulative measures, performance metrics under EVA, and you can take your own decisions. So thank you all.